Shabbat Shalom. There is a story that is told about a very pious rabbi who, at a ripe old age, passed away and made his way up to heaven. He was greeted with a lot of fanfare. Everyone was quite excited that this very pious and righteous rabbi who was so learned was finally going to be up in heaven. And one of the ministering angels said to him, I want you to know that you have a very important meeting later on today. You're going to be meeting with Abraham Avinu, with Abraham, our father, and his wife, Sarah, and they're going to be having you for lunch. And he says, let me tell you, it's going to be just the most fantastic meal. It's going to be a whole spread of meat and fruits and vegetables and soups and whatever you want. It's just going to be amazing, and the most beautiful pastries. And the rabbi thinks about it a little bit. He says, so can you tell me who's doing the kosher supervision? He says, well, God's self is the one who supervises the kashrut at the meal. So the rabbi says, well, in that case, I'll just have a fruit plate. This is an old Jewish joke. And really, what kind of joke isn't a Jewish joke? We know that Jewish humor is deeply embedded in our psyche. This past weekend, my wife and I were out by Chautauqua, and we went down to the National Comedy Center in Jamestown, which if you haven't had a chance to visit, you ought to. It was a lot of fun. But it was really quite striking. I mean, we know that there are a lot of Jewish comedians, but boy, when you're at that museum, you really get a sense of how many of us really have a sense of humor. And maybe it comes from something in this week's Torah portion. In this week's Torah portion, of course, we have a lot of things that happen, but one of them is the birth of Yitzchak, whose name means laughter. Isaac, of course, born to Sarah and Abraham in their old age at a time when they were not really expected to be able to have children. And when Sarah hears that she'll have a child, she actually laughs. It's not the laugh of ha ha ha, but it's really like a laugh of perhaps disbelief and a laugh of joy. And oftentimes that's what humor is. Humor is just a turning upside down of what is the regular way of the world. I know that right now we're in a very difficult time in this country. As I'm recording this, we still don't know how the election turns out. But it never hurts to have a little bit of a sense of humor to get through the difficult times. It certainly has helped our people throughout the generations. And a good laugh is good for the heart and good for the soul. This week at Bethel, the Heights Synagogue, we mark the yahrzeit of Jack Stern, Morton Hoffman, David Nadel, Doris Glazer, Morris Samet, Gertrude Sobelman, Claire Kamen, Hyman Cohen, Philip Knoll, Morris Cohen, Philip Reese, and Ann Groger. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.